Welcome to Cooking with the Keefes Tailgate Super Bowl version. I'm Patrick Keefe.
And I'm Jennifer Keefe.
And we're going to make a couple crowd-pleasing treats that you can do at your home when you're entertaining for a football game or for any real fun party. I'm going to start today with a little bit of pulled pork, something that I like to make a lot when I have a large crowd. It's something really easy. You can prepare in advance, put in the oven, and kind of forget about it. And also, I'm going to make some Reuben puffs. We're going to do corned beef, Swiss cheese, a kind of a version of a sauerkraut, but a cooked version. We're going to roll it in some puff pastry and serve it with the famous Thousand Island sauce. So to start with the pulled pork, I'm using a pork butt. It's a little over 2 pounds, and I use a little bit of mustard to act as a binder as I put over the meat, and a little bit of pickle juice. And I'm going to use those pickles later. The dry rub is garlic powder, thyme, bay leaf, salt, black pepper, smoked paprika. It's going to give it that fake smoky flavor. And if you have a smoker, you don't have to use it at all. Chili powder and a little brown sugar. So I'm going to put some gloves on. The mustard's really good. This is something that you see down the south a lot. They use the mustard as a binder. And I think that they don't like to throw their pickle juice away when they have those big jars of pickles. So it gives a little bit of a vinegar / salty flavor as well. Not too much. That was about 2 tablespoons of mustard and about 2 tablespoons of pickle juice. And the juice is we're gonna maintain all of that because when we cook it in the pan, it's gonna help provide some moisture as well. And we can just mix up this dry rub. Yeah. And what you want to do is you want to marinate this the night before. I always like to, you can mix it all in right there. I like to take it and I put it in the refrigerator in the pan I'm going to cook it in. So I'll take a shallow casserole pan or a Pyrex dish and I'll put it right in there. I like to put the fat side up. This is the fat side. You'll see it's a little bit more pale. You can see that fat. Mix it around. And I like to, you want to get inside all the nooks too because there's some little pockets. Marinate all that meat. And again, for about 6 to 8 hours or just overnight, you can do this, and you won't over marinate. This meat isn't gonna get tough because you're gonna cook it down and it's gonna break down really easily. So that's all the marinade there. And then I do take some white onions, about 1 whole white onion, sliced up, mixed in, and again, we'll wrap this up, put it in the refrigerator, and set it up for the next day.
And anytime you're hosting a big crowd, it's good to be able to put stuff aside the morning or the day before and get things done and out of the way so you're not rushing around when you have people over. So a lot of this stuff is all do ahead.
Oh, easily, yeah, and people really like it. You don't have to run around when they join. You can entertain and enjoy. So we'll wrap this up and just put it right in the refrigerator, and we'll put that in the oven when it's time. And after that goes into the oven, I'm going to show you what it looks like when it comes out. It takes about, I go about 315 degrees for about 4 hours completely wrapped. So 315, I'll set the oven, sometimes I'll leave the house and keep it completely wrapped because the steam and the heat is going to kind of really cook down the meat and it's going to really break it down. And then the last few minutes, I'll take it out of the oven, just like this. You'll see what it looks like. And there's all it does cook down pretty good. And you'll see all the onions cook down. And what you can do is if you want to get a little bit of a crust, you can sprinkle a little bit more of that dry rub. You can reserve some. And you can just put it back in the oven. But it just pulls right apart. And what I like to do is, I don't really need to get any crispiness on it because I'm going to serve it in a sandwich. And I can serve it just like that. Even the onions you can incorporate in. And all this juice, it's the pickle juice, the mustard, and all the nice flavor. You get all those good flavors. That's sauce enough in itself. So if you go to some barbecue restaurants and you have like a really, just like a kind of a vinegar base barbecue sauce, this is kind of what it's entailing. You can add a little more apple cider vinegar. But if you're like us Northerners, we like it sweet. So what I'll do is after I break all this down, You see it's gonna get nice and tender. I'll break all this down and I will just dig right into my favorite store-bought barbecue sauce. Whatever you like is what you like. I do like Sweet Baby Ray's, and I'll put it over there and mix a little bit in. It gives it the sweet tang that I really like, and I think I said us Northerners, it's something I think that goes with the cold weather. We like a little something sweet. And there you have. If there's a little excess fat, you can just push that off to the side. But I'm going to reserve this off to the side. This can go in, if you have a crock pot or if you have a warmer, you can leave it right in there. You can just put it in a little warming dish on top of the oven as well. So we're going to get back to that in a second. You see, I didn't even have to do anything.
Nothing.
No knife, nothing. You could use your hand, and it just breaks down just like you get in a restaurant. Pulled pork. The only real difference is that it doesn't have the real smoke from a smoker that we really enjoy. And I like a smoker, but sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle too. So we're going to put this off to the side, and we're going to make some sandwiches in just a little bit. The other dish is going to be a little bit, I wouldn't say more complicated, but this is something that you can make these puffs really with anything. So before we get going on that, Jen's going to start this pan, and she's going to help make the Schuhkrut, which is kind of a German term, kind of like when you think about sauerkraut, but it's going to have bacon, onion, a little bit of cabbage cooked down, and kind of like a kraut, and a little vinegar. So it's going to have that kraut bite, but it's going to be warm. And then we're going to take the corned beef, and we're going to take the Swiss cheese, and we're going to roll them in puff pastry, bake them in the oven, and they're going to be kind of like little Reuben bites.
Yeah.
Okay. You get your bacon, get some garlic and onion, just shredded white cabbage. I cut it myself. This is about 1/4 of a head. And I did a little bit for the pulled pork. I did a little bit of a quick coleslaw as well that I'll use as a garnish to the sandwich, or sometimes I'll put it right on the sandwich, but it's really kind of user's choice. I like a little bit on my sandwich, it all depends. So this is going to be a cooked cabbage. The pulled pork has a raw cabbage, more of a coleslaw version. Well, it is a coleslaw. So we can add a little thyme, and we can pick that out later. Put a little celery seed. All right. Some people can use caraway too, but you're gonna grind it up. If you're gonna use caraway or something like that, you want to grind it up. The caraway definitely adds. It gives you something you think about when you're having rye bread, and it kind of adds to the Reuben. I like to add celery seed. They both kind of have they have a similar flavor. That looks good. Bacon, onion, garlic.
Celery seed common in coleslaw too?
Yes, in the dressing. So. Yeah, we'll put it all right.
I was going to say it'll cook down,
It's going to
right?
cook down. We're going to add a liberal amount of salt. Just kosher salt. Cabbage takes on a lot of seasoning. As you know, it's got that kind of robust flavor. You almost have a gassy-like flavor. I love it. And this is the apple cider vinegar we'll use as a little bit of a deglazer. Just about 2 tablespoons of that. So it's just going to cook down a little bit more, and I'll show you how we're going to prepare the puff pastry. This is something that you can definitely make in advance while Jen's cooking that down. Get these right in the freezer section of your standard grocery store. Pepperidge Farm puff pastry sheets, not shells. Shells are usually like in a cup form. Those go good for desserts, or if you wanted to make something a little fancier. These are just straight up puff pastry sheets. Almost like a pie crust. You could probably even use a pie crust if you really wanted to. You won't get that same poof. They are gentle. They come frozen. You gotta slightly defrost them, and they come floured. So we'll just keep it right there. And one of the things we're going to need is we're going to need a little egg wash. I have the oven still at 350 degrees, and I prepped that sheet. That's going to be good right there.
Turn this off.
Yep.
About that time.
You can leave it in there.
Leave it.
So this is just standard corned beef from the grocery store. Again, you could use pastrami, you can use corned beef, you can use, you could almost do like a steak and cheese. Obviously, it's Philadelphia and the Kansas City Chiefs. I probably should have thought of that, right? But we could have done something maybe a little more Philly steak and cheese, especially when we're doing the pulled pork.
I'm in my colors. You know who I'm rooting for.
Right? Well, I'm with you. I think all of the Boston area is rooting. So I'm going to do 2 rolls here. You don't have to put much. I used to do this when I worked a long time ago at a hotel. I used to use these puff pastry sheets, and we would take chicken mousse and asparagus and cheese. And I don't know, they must have charged $3 a piece when I was at the hotel, and that was 30 years ago. But people love it. It has a little bit of an elegance to it, so I think that it makes you think that you're having something a little bit more fancy, but all you're really having is just a nice little roll. So.
That's Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese. My standard for Reuben. I like Swiss cheese. Some people like Gruyere or Hearty cheddar. And again, no rules here. You can add whatever you want. If you don't like corned beef, again, use something else. If you don't like puff pastry, use pie dough. You can use empanada dough.
Yeah.
You can do the fried empanada. You can do the baked empanada. So we're just going to take a little bit of this cabbage with the bacon inside of it and spread it out. Typically you would let it cool down a little bit, but we're going to be good here. All right. And a little goes a long way. The reason I didn't use the raw version of the cabbage was I don't like cooking my cold salads, so I don't like cooking coleslaw. I think it gets a little weird, so just personal preference for me. I like it if you have it griddled in a sandwich, but when you have it all warm and too warm, it gets a little too much for me. I'll press it down tight, and again, you can do these ahead of time, and you can make these the night before, and then cook them the day of. You can just set them right in the refrigerator. Just gotta roll them, almost like a calzone. But you do want to press them so the bottoms don't, because they want to rise, and they're going to. That's what makes them a little bit more nice, is they get nice and fluffy. But they're gonna want to rise a little bit. Press them, I'm gonna stretch them out a little bit. We'll do one more. There's gonna be a couple cool Valentine's specials happening. And I know someone from City Hall, Carmen and her husband, her lovely husband, are gonna be doing a show, and I can't wait to see that. Making some Portuguese food from their native land, and that's gonna be awesome. And I know some other couples are gonna be doing some other cool Valentine's specials, so that's gonna be really nice. And then of course we have St. Patrick's Day coming up, and then you name it. Lots of different holidays, lots of different celebrations. Revere TV, your community source, will make sure that you get the skinny on what people are making. So these are gonna go in the oven. We're gonna do a little egg wash on the top for 10 to 15 minutes. You can even make these, ooh, that's a whole egg. You can even make these in advance and freeze them, and then cook them, pull them out of the freezer. So if you just make, you don't want to make too many, you're not going to go through them. You can wrap them up tight, put them in the freezer, and pull them out when you're having a nice big dinner party. And people will think you are the absolute coolest. So here we have 350 in the oven for about 15 minutes.
Well, maybe we should clean up, and then we'll be able to come back and make some dessert. All right, and now we're on to dessert. So we are here to make our Girl Scout cookie dip, and that is based off the coconut caramel delights that we now see. And I think are the better.
They're not called Samoans.
They're not called Samoas, but in my day they were. And I argue that they're the better Girl Scout cookie.
I enjoy them. Peanut butter patty though, number one for me.
They are pretty good. So far in the bowl, what we have here is an 8-ounce brick of cream cheese that I have let sit out for an hour and a half to get room temp. You want it to get soft. About a half cup of powdered sugar and 2 tablespoons of caramel syrup. I got for this recipe the Smucker's like squeezable just because they're so easy. You know, this is what you'd use on your ice cream, but it is great in recipes too. And great with your coffee as well. We're then going to add in a whole container, 8-ounce container of Cool Whip.
Is that Cool Whip?
Cool Whip. I don't know if everyone will get that joke, but.
Cool Whip.
And I just scrape that all in there. And we're just gonna give this.
I can't help myself. Layups, yeah.
A quick buzz with the hand mixer. And
Can I do the hand mixer?
you can.
No,
do you want to help?
No, I'll watch.
Let's see. And you want to make sure it just gets really incorporated, get all that cream cheese and the Cool Whip evenly incorporated. We're just gonna start it off slow so we don't make a mess. I might have just sprayed Pat with the powdered sugar a little bit, but.
Good thing it's only powdered sugar.
Yes. And.
We're getting wild over here.
I know.
So if you wanted more caramel, could you do more caramel?
You can do whatever you want.
No rules?
No
Just
rules.
Right? All right.
No rules. This is just a simple, easy dish. I don't know if you need it to be more sweet, but if you like more caramel, we're also going to add more caramel on top with some chocolate sauce and then toasted coconut. So I pre-toasted my coconut, and I'll kind of show you how I did that.
That's my favorite.
Yes. So I spread the coconut, which we use just a bag of the coconut.
For the sweetened?
Sweetened, flaky coconut. You'll find that right in the baking aisle at any of the grocery stores. And I lay it out flat on a sheet pan, and I put it under the broiler in the oven, and I do not close the oven. And I watch it, and I watch it, and I watch it, and I stir it, and I make sure it browns evenly.
The second you close the oven,
Yes.
and you turn away, you're burning the coconut.
Yes.
So don't
Instantly.
take your eyes off the coconut.
And I'm just making sure that this is fully incorporated. Try and get as many of the lumps out of there. It's okay if there's some. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's it.
No way.
Get that out of here.
Whoa, where are you going with those things?
Oh.
Oh no, I'm just joking. We're on TV. I can't do that.
Can't lick the meters when we're on TV. So then I already have my plate set up here. Our Nilla wafers, our graham crackers, and I sliced up some green apple. And I'm just gonna put this in our bowl.
I'm her sous chef.
Yes. And you want to make sure you use a bowl that's a little bit bigger so that you have some room at the top, because we're going to be adding ingredients to the top. So you want to make sure you have a little bit of a lip and not fill it all the way to the top. Just smooth that in. And then I'm going to take a whole bunch of this toasted coconut. I'm going to sprinkle that on top and do a little extra and just pat that in. And then we're going to generously top it with caramel sauce. And chocolate sauce. It's gonna look a little bit like the cookie.
Wow.
And you're gonna just stick that out and let everyone go to town and have some graham crackers. You could really do anything, any kind of crackers, cookies that you want. I would even dare say grab a
Like a candy bar or something?
Candy bar or
How about a Twix
an actual
right in
Girl
there?
Scout cookie and dip that in there.
I'm thinking about Twix right in there.
And this
man.
can be made ahead. You stick that right in the fridge. You take it out when it's time to serve. And I promise you, it's a huge hit, and it's easy, it's simple, and it's delicious.
Chocolate graham crackers, all that. This is gonna be good.
Yes.
And again, the best part that Jen says is this is easy, crowd-pleasing stuff. You wanna have a fun time at your event or your party at your house, or if you wanna be able to go to your friend's house, you don't wanna be slaving over the kitchen all day. You wanna be able to get out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and this is easy to bring to someone's house. Grab that right out of the fridge and head on out the door, and you're ready to go. And now that dessert is finished, we're gonna bring it all together, have some food, some dessert, and we'll be back in a second.
Okay, so we're gonna plate our pulled pork sliders. I went really simple. I got the fan favorite King's Hawaiian. Some people will griddle their rolls. I don't feel the need to on these ones. I like the softness, but it's all depending on what you want, and they can pull right apart. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a couple, and again, you could set them up. People can make their own. I like to do them with sometimes a taco station with this meat, but I'll set them up and make a couple, and the way I like them, the way Jen likes them. We'll put the bottoms down. Always remember, you're gonna have a certain amount of bottoms and a certain amount of tops. I've made that mistake. And what I'll do is, I'm gonna do a little bit of, I made a little coleslaw earlier, shredded cabbage, same type of cabbage that I use for the choux croute, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little bit of chopped carrot, a little garlic powder, some mayonnaise, and some white sugar, just some granulated sugar. You put a little on those. That gives it a nice little bite, breaks it up, you know.
Something about the hot and the cold and
cool
the
and
sweet and the
refreshing.
sour.
If you don't like coleslaw, don't use it. If you want to just do like lettuce, or if you want to do nothing, it's totally up to you. And if you like more barbecue sauce, like I said, go for it. So you get the warm pulled pork. And these go a long, for this 2-pound butt, these go a long way, you know. You can see how tender it is.
You don't need to make huge sandwiches. You know, Super Bowl's all about the pickies, right?
And you want to have yeah, everyone wants to try a lot of everything, right?
Right.
So I'll even get some of these bread and butter pickles right on top, and I'll skewer them.
That doesn't look terrible.
No. So those are some really simple pulled pork sliders. These are look at how they puffed up. You can leave them right there. We'll plate those. So the Reuben puffs, as we call them. And again, you can really use anything. You see some of the cheese came out. They come right up. You see they got nice and puffy and crusty. Cooked all the way through. They didn't break apart.
Golden
They are going to
brown.
be delicate when you cut them. So you gotta use a sharp knife, and you don't want to just squish them down, because you can see they're going to be soft. And I'll cut it right in half. Look at that. And then I'll cut them in maybe 6s, depending on how generous I want to be. And they're still really warm, so you can let them sit a little bit more. And I'll use, I made a Thousand Island dressing. Okay. And I'll use a little bit right down the center. There. And I'll put these puffs up.
This is the most elegant Super Bowl food I've ever seen.
But you know what? You saw how easy it was?
Yes. Beautiful does not need to be difficult.
And you'll definitely make people happy with your Super Bowl gathering. So you're gonna have your Reuben puffs, you're gonna have your pulled pork sliders, and Jen, what do you, and again?
And we've got our Caramel DeLite Girl Scout cookie dip.
So we have to try it, and we're gonna do it on camera. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm not gonna hold much longer, but I'm going with the apple, and I gotta see this. This is, I love coconut.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess
Dig
it
in
all up.
there.
And no, we will not double dip the chip, okay?
I lost my cookie in there.
I live with Seinfeld references. No double dipping.
Well,
I hope you enjoyed your show.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
yeah. Hope everyone has a great Super Bowl.
Take care.
Bye-bye.